What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Tony, back with episode 2 of this podcast. I hope that you guys are having a good day. I know that I am. Whether you're watching this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, morning, afternoon, evening, whatever the case may be, I hope that you guys are having an amazing day. Or even I hope that you guys have an amazing day, speaking in future terms. I hope that you guys also stack multiple wins. I'm going to say this every episode. I hope that you guys stack multiple wins, because stacking multiple wins over your lifetime is how you accumulate success. And I want to see you guys successful. One win that I stacked this week actually happened this morning. I was successful in telling some of the people that I care about that I appreciated them. I showed some gratitude. A lot of people don't know, but showing gratitude is the only way you're going to get more in this life. You got to be thankful for what and who you have if you're ever going to get more. So just remember that. That's a little golden nugget. So what are we talking about today? Today we're going to be talking about keeping going and kind of what that looks like. What I mean by keeping going is how to stay consistent. Why do I want to talk about this? Mainly because first things first and foremost, it's a good segue from last week. Because last week, we talked about how to get started. This week, we're talking about how to keep going, how to stay consistent once you get started. It's the second most important step, right? Or you're never going to finish those things that you start. I see a lot of people starting and stopping certain things in their life, and I've been one of those people. So I'm going to do my best, and I want to do my best in hopes to help you guys out. Anybody that's done the same thing or struggled with the same thing. Some things that I've started and stopped have been eating healthy, going to the gym, believe it or not, making YouTube videos, my coaching business, reading books, building a relationship with God. Trust me, the list goes on. I'm far from perfect, right? But one day I decided that enough was enough. Now, some things that can come out of starting and stopping whatever you say you're going to do, one thing is your progress meter resets, and it resets, and it resets over and over and over and over again, and you're never going to get anywhere in life. Another reason, and this next reason is a little more personal to me, because this is something that I really struggled with, is you start to feel ashamed when your family and your friends, your loved ones ask you your progress on that said thing that you were going to do, right? Whether that's losing 50 pounds, starting a business, whatever it is, they're going to ask you. They're going to ask you how it's going. And what are you going to say? Oh, I stopped. It's a bad feeling, at least for me, and it eats me up inside. I don't like that feeling, and I'm sure that you wouldn't like that feeling either. Also, you become miserable because the obvious, you're telling yourself you're going to do something, you're starting it, and then you stop. And the biggest thing is you start to break promises that you made to your loved ones and your family and your friends. But main thing is you're breaking promises that you made to yourself. Self-confidence is doing those things that you said you're going to do, or even doing the things that you said or that you told your family and friends that you were going to do, right? And the more and more you start and stop those things that you said you were going to do, you start losing that trust and faith in yourself. And eventually, the self-confidence is going to start to deteriorate. And self-confidence is linked to self-love. So once self-confidence depletes, self-love is going to do the same exact thing. You can't love yourself and not do the same and not do the things that you said you were gonna do. That's just not how life works. Something that I heard in a podcast recently, you're gonna hear about this podcast a lot. I love this podcast. It's Bedros Keuilian. He said that the universe is just and fair, and you think about it, and nothing could be further from the truth. Nothing could be further from the truth. What this basically means is what you get out of life is a reflection of what you put in and what you gave. If all you're giving is inconsistency, you're going to get inconsistent ass results. That's just how it works. And that's the reality of it. And a lot of people just need to come to grips with that. I know I did. And I know I do for some things as well. I mean, I've come to grips more and more with that. Versus the opposite. Think about the opposite. Think about the positive outcomes that could come out of this when you start, doing those things you said you're going to do and actually staying with them. First things first, you get closer to your goal daily. You're 1% better every single day, and you feel good. You become more content because you're chasing after something. A lot of people don't know, but you get a dopamine release every time you achieve something. And once you start chasing after something and you're stacking those small wins every single day, your brain is releasing dopamine, you start to feel good. And I'm not going to say happy because happy is a state. And just as sad is a state, angry is a state, you fluctuate. I like that. I just made that up. But basically, you become content. And I think that's what everybody should be reaching for in life, is to become content and get what they want out of life and live with meaning and purpose. Imagine what your life will look like when you do start doing those things that you tell yourself you're going to do. I mean, your self-love and your self-confidence is going to shoot. It's going to shoot through the roof. It's going to be the best feeling ever. Now, imagine this scenario. Imagine you take two miners and you give them their own designated tunnel. And I really love this example. My mom showed me a picture of this years ago, and it makes so much sense. So you tell miner 1 and you tell miner 2 that there's a diamond at that end of the tunnel. I'm not going to tell you when you're going to reach it. It could be days, it could be months, it could be years, it could be a decade. But I'm not going to tell you when you're going to reach it. And this is what God kind of does with us. He's like, you were meant for this, but I'm not going to tell you when you're going to reach it. You just have to keep on working. But anyways, back to the example. These miners, they start out driven because they want that diamond. So they dig. They dig for days. They dig for months. They dig for years. They dig for a decade. They dig for a decade and 5. They dig for 2 decades. And both of them are getting tired. But the one thing, miner 1, he keeps going. Miner 2, he's like, F this. I'm never going to get this diamond. I give up. And the next day, miner 1, he gets that diamond. And what is the difference between these two miners? I'll tell you what, nothing at all. Nothing at all. The only difference is that one kept going and now he gets to enjoy the fruits of his labor. So kudos to him. Kudos to him. The main problem in society today is people want what they want now. And they don't feel like they should have to suffer through the process. And that's the only way you're going to get to where you want in life. Anything that's worth it, you're going to have to suffer for it. Just a little bit, maybe even a lot, depending on how big the thing is, right? But it's really the example of, not the example, but it's really the difference between instant gratification and delayed gratification, getting what you want now or getting what you want later in the future. Say that you win the lottery, right? You just won $100 million, and I'm sure that it's going to feel good to buy all these things. It's going to feel good that you won that $100 million, right? But after it's gone, what then, right? And you did no growing in the process. Now take the opposite. Imagine if you spent 2 decades building yourself, building your net worth to be a $100 million man, a $100 million woman. Imagine how much growth you did in that, or growth that you got in that process of building that net worth. You are taking $100 million vacations. You got a $100 million family. You have built a name for yourself. you are making $100 million decisions. And because you're making $100 million decisions, in 10 more years, you're going to be a $500 million man. So just imagine, and let's not forget how good it's going to feel to enjoy the fruits of those labors, right? But how can you change this? How can you switch this mindset? There's a couple things that you can do. First things first, you need to figure out what your why is. Why do you want to get up every single morning and do what you want to do, what you need to do? Why do you want to keep going? I used to be in PT sales at LA Fitness. And one question that I used to ask on the FA sheet was, how many times have you stopped and started? Let's say this random person says 5, okay? So what's going to be different this time versus those other 5 times that you stopped and started? And imagine I'm talking to you, okay? And we're talking about your goals instead of something, specific as losing 50 pounds. Or even say that you want to lose 50 pounds. But I ask you, what's going to be different this time versus those other 5 times that you stopped and started? And you tell me, I don't know, I'm more motivated this time. I'm more motivated than ever. Okay, now I'm going to challenge you. Now I can imagine those other times that you stopped and started, you started pretty motivated, right? I'm assuming the answer is yes. You're probably nodding your head right now just like I am. But if the answer is yes, then what's really going to be the difference maker? What's going to keep you going? And you got to really, really think about that. And if you don't find that out, this 6th time coming, you're going to do the exact same thing. And that's just the reality of the situation, y'all. What you want to do, you want to start small, right? After you figure out your why, you want to start small. And let's actually say these steps are in no particular order. But one step you do want to take is starting small. You always want to start small before you hit those big things, whether that's showing gratitude every single night. That's something small. That's something that I'm starting to work on. And it also makes me feel good too. Reading 5 pages of a book every single day, of a self-development book, a business book, a novel, whatever the case may be. You want to read more, start reading 5 pages every single day and just build off that. You can meditate. If you want to start meditating, you can meditate for 5 minutes every single day and just start building off that. My biggest point here is you want to start with the small things. You always want to start with the small things before you can ever build up to consistency with the big things. So make sure you're consistent with the small things before you become consistent with the big things. Remember that. Also, you have to fall in love. You have to fall in love with the process more than you fall in love with the result that you're chasing after. Okay, so if you want to be $100 million man, what do you have to do to get there? Once you figure out what you have to do to get there, fall in love with becoming better in the process, in the growth that you're going through the process. Obviously, still have the goal, still be excited about the goal, but when you're in the moment, how you keep going is you fall in love with the process. So think about that as well. Just think of getting 1% better every single day. But with that 1% thing that whatever you're focusing on in that moment, on that day, make sure that you're putting 100% effort. So just because I'm saying get 1% better every day, that doesn't mean give 1% effort. Like I said, that just means whatever you're focusing on, give it your all. That's all I'm saying. So implement that as well. So many people dream at night. I want you to try this. I want you to try dreaming during the day. Okay? And this is kind of where meditation comes in. Meditation helps a lot of people. Visualize what your life is going to look like when you get to that goal. Visualize yourself going through the process. Visualize yourself loving the process. And visualize it with so much detail that your brain can't mistake it for something that's fake. Typically, the brain can't tell the difference between what's fake and what's real. So if you visualize something with so much detail, your brain already thinks it's real. So then you just start operating on that frequency. And eventually, it's game over. It's game over. You got everything that you wanted in life. You got everything that you want in life. Whether it's money, whether it's fame, whatever the case may be. One of the biggest things that hit me, and I've definitely done this a couple times, is don't tell your dreams to small-minded people. Some people in your life can be supporters, but there are others that will unintentionally keep you down from where you're supposed to go. Nothing can kill a dream faster than telling your dreams to a small-minded person. It's kind of like the crabs in a bucket example. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but if you take a bucket of crabs and you set them down and you notice that one's trying to escape, his friend is going to grab his leg and drag him back down. That's kind of like your friend. So if you have any crabs in your life, cut them out. Cut them out, because you have no time and you can't afford to stay down where they are. It's going to be a different story when you get up there and you reach down to help them up. That's how it should be. That's how it should be if they're not growing with you at the same efficiency and at the same level. With that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this podcast. I really enjoyed talking about this subject of matter. It means so much to me because it's something that I've struggled with. Like I said, I hope you guys got a lot out of this episode, and always remember your why and just keep going after you remember that. And I'll see you guys next week. Peace.